Do you have a 1966 Washington quarter lying around? What if I told you that one of those could be worth up to $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. A small piece of change could change your life. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter. Why collectors go crazy for it, what makes it so valuable, and how you can tell if the one in your pocket is worth a fortune. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Now fast forward to 1966, a very interesting year in U.S. coin history. Just a year earlier, the U.S. Mint made a historic change. It removed silver from most circulating coins, including quarters. Before 1965, quarters were 90% silver. But starting in 1965, due to rising silver prices, the mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which continued into 1966. So, the 1966 quarter was one of the early coins struck in this new metal composition. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1966, the U.S. Mint did not use mint marks on coins. So all quarters from this year are marked as no mint mark, regardless of where they were made. Some 1966 quarters contain extremely rare minting errors, like being struck on silver planchets left over from 1964, or double die obverse, or off-center strikes. These error coins are few and far between, and collectors pay big money for them. Condition is everything in the coin world. If your 1966 quarter is an MS67 or higher, meaning it's in mint condition with no scratches, bag marks, or wear, then you're holding a treasure. Some pristine examples have fetched tens of thousands, and rare errors in that condition can skyrocket to hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million. Ever heard of full drum lines on the reverse of the coin? It refers to the crisp detail on the drum that the eagle is standing on. If those lines are sharp and complete, your coin can be significantly more valuable. Now let's talk about how you can tell if your 1966 quarter is a jackpot coin. A standard 1966 clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams. But if you find one that weighs more, around 6.25 grams, you might have a silver transitional error coin. Get a digital scale and weigh it. Silver coins have a unique ring when dropped and a slightly different color tone, more dull and grayish compared to the copper-nickel shine. Use a magnifier to inspect for doubling on letters or numbers, especially around Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. That could indicate a valuable double die. Check the edge of the coin. If there's no visible copper strip, you could have a silver planchet error. Let's talk money. Here's what some 1966 quarters have actually sold for. Moneybag, a 1966 quarter with a full strike and mint state condition, sold for over $4,000 at auction. Moneybag, a rare double die 1966 quarter, was valued at nearly $35,000. Moneybag, and in one rumored private collector deal, a flawless, error-filled 1966 quarter was offered at $1 million, due to its unique condition and history. While that price hasn't been officially confirmed, the buzz around it has made 1966 quarters hot property. Now, what should you do if you find a 1966 quarter in your stash? Weigh it and inspect it for errors. If it looks rare or perfect, do not clean it. Cleaning can destroy its value. Get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Reach out to a coin dealer or auction house to explore selling options. Who knew that a simple quarter from 1966 could be worth a fortune? So go check your piggy banks, old coin jars, and inherited collections. That one coin might just be your golden ticket to $1 million. We're diving deep into one of those dream coins, the 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar. This coin might be just the kind of jackpot you've been waiting for, with a value reaching up to a staggering $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter could be worth 7 figures. So let's get into all the details about this rare and highly valuable piece of American history. But before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed, because we've got tons of amazing content on rare coins coming your way. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1978 Washington quarter was minted during the regular production year for this coin. But what makes this coin so extraordinary is the fact that it has no mint mark, and that's the key to its value. Typically, U.S. quarters have mint marks to show where they were produced, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, and of course, a P for Philadelphia. But in 1978, a small number of quarters were accidentally struck without any mint mark at all. These unmarked coins were issued alongside the regular mintage, but their rarity was not recognized until years later. The Washington quarter, which first appeared in 1932, features the iconic design of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But this 1978 no mint mark variety? It's the scarcity that makes it so precious. So, why is this particular coin worth so much? The answer lies in the rarity of the no mint mark variety. As I mentioned earlier, mint marks are used to identify where coins were made. But with the 1978 no mint mark Washington quarter, there was an error in production. The U.S. Mint accidentally left the mint mark off a small portion of the quarters that year, and over time, these coins have become incredibly sought after by collectors. There's a scarcity factor here that drives the value up. In the world of numismatics, rarity equals value. And because this coin was produced in error, it makes it much harder to find, and when one of these surfaces, it can fetch a hefty price at auction. We're talking about prices that could reach up to $1 million for a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition. Now, of course, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. If you happen to come across a 1978 no mint mark Washington quarter, you'll need to inspect it carefully. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin in mint state, meaning it looks brand new with no visible wear, will always command a higher price. So, if you find a 1978 no mint mark Washington quarter in mint state, especially one that's been professionally graded at MS65 or higher, it could potentially be worth a small fortune. The most valuable examples are often found in pristine condition, as most circulated coins will have some wear and tear. The higher the grade, the more likely you are to see a price tag that hits the $1 million mark. So, how do you spot a 1978 Washington quarter with no mint mark? It's simple once you know what to look for. First, check the obverse, which is the side with George Washington's profile. Look closely at the area just to the right of his shoulder. On a typical Washington quarter, you'll find a small mint mark, either a D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or a P for Philadelphia. But the key here is the absence of that mint mark. If you can't find it, then you're holding a potential treasure in your hand. The other thing to keep in mind is the overall condition. If you have a coin that looks well worn or scratched, it's going to be worth much less than a coin in pristine condition. So, take good care of your collection and keep those rare coins safe. Now, let's talk about selling a 1978 no mint mark quarter dollar. If you happen to own one of these rare coins, you might be wondering, how do I sell it? Well, there are a few options for you. First, you can reach out to numismatic dealers or auction houses that specialize in rare coins. These experts can help you determine the value of your coin and put you in touch with serious buyers. Some of the most well-known auction houses, like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, frequently deal with high-value coins, including these types of rare quarters. If you're looking to reach a wider audience, you could even consider selling your coin online through platforms like eBay or specialized coin-selling websites. Just be sure to have your coin professionally graded before listing it, as a verified grade can significantly increase the value. As we wrap up, I want to share some coin collecting tips for those of you who are new to the hobby. Coin collecting is a thrilling and rewarding pursuit, but it requires a keen eye and a lot of patience. Here are a few quick tips. Always research the coins you're collecting. The more you know, the better you can spot rarities like the 1978 no mint mark Washington quarter. For high-value coins, grading is essential. It gives you an official appraisal of your coin's value. Store your coins in protective holders to prevent any damage or wear. With these tips, you'll be on your way to building a collection that could potentially be worth millions of dollars. And that's a wrap on today's video about the 1978 no mint mark Washington quarter dollar coin. If you found this info helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin tips and hidden treasure finds. 1980p mint mark Washington quarter dollar. This coin could be worth up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter worth $1 million. Stick around as we uncover why this seemingly ordinary coin holds such enormous value and how you could cash in if you have one. Let's get into it. First, let's break down what makes the 1980p Washington quarter so special. The Washington quarter, which has been in circulation since 1932, features George Washington on the front, with an eagle on the reverse side. It's a coin that most of us are familiar with, but the 1980 version, with the P Mint mark, is where things get interesting. In 1980, the U.S. Mint produced a large number of quarters, but there were a few anomalies that make certain 1980p quarters extraordinarily rare and valuable. The key to the quarter's high value lies in an extremely rare and unique error that occurred during production. A very small number of these coins were struck with a misalignment, or a double die, a minting error that creates a visible, sometimes dramatic, doubling of the design. This type of error, known as a double die, creates a noticeable distortion of the lettering or images on the coin. For example, you might see the date 1980 appear twice or a slight shift in the design elements, making it stand out from the standard issue quarters. Now, while some might think this is a mistake that lowers the value of the coin, in the world of coin collecting, errors are golden. A double die or misaligned die error can make a coin exponentially more valuable because collectors are always on the lookout for these rare pieces. So, what's the deal with this coin reaching up to $1 million? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Some of these 1980p error quarters have been sold at auctions for astronomical prices, especially when they are in pristine condition with the right kind of errors. In one case, a collector paid upwards of $1 million for a 1980p quarter that had a double die error, combined with impeccable grading and authenticity. To put it simply, the combination of the rare error and high demand for rare coins makes this particular quarter extremely valuable. And because of how few of these error coins were produced, the value has skyrocketed. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1980p Washington quarter could be worth a fortune. The first thing you want to do is examine the coin for any signs of a double die error or misalignment. Check for any doubling or misplacement of the designs, particularly in the Liberty inscription or the date itself. You'll want to carefully inspect the fine details with a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, as these errors are subtle but incredibly valuable. Also, be on the lookout for coins that are in mint condition. The better the condition, the more money you could make. Coins graded as MS65 or higher by a trusted grading company like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are likely to fetch the highest prices. If you think you've got a valuable 1980p Washington quarter, the next step is to get it appraised. Take it to a professional coin dealer or a reputable auction house that specializes in rare coins. They'll be able to tell you if your coin is one of the error varieties and what its current market value might be. Once you've had your coin authenticated and graded, you'll have a clearer idea of what it's worth. If it's a top-quality error coin, don't be surprised if it could fetch $1 million or more. Coin collecting is not just a hobby, it's also a long-term investment. Coins like the 1980p Washington quarter show how the right coin can appreciate in value dramatically over time, making them perfect for collectors and investors alike. As the years go by, rare error coins like the 1980p will continue to be sought after by collectors, making them even more valuable as the years pass. If you've got one of these quarters sitting in your collection, hold on to it. You never know when it might be worth a fortune. So, there you have it. The 1980p mint mark Washington quarter dollar is a coin that could be worth up to $1 million, especially if it's got a rare error. If you think you have one, be sure to get it checked out by a professional, and you might just have a priceless piece of history in your hands. 1982p mint mark Washington quarter dollar, worth up to a staggering $1 million. You heard that right. So, if you've got any 1982 quarters in your collection or laying around in your spare change, stick around. This video might just change your life. First, let's start by taking a look at the Washington Quarter Dollar Series itself. The Washington Quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Fast forward to 1982, and the design remains largely unchanged, featuring Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But the 1982 P Mint Mark Washington Quarter is where things get interesting. In the early 80s, the U.S. Mint was producing these quarters in huge numbers. So, why on earth would one of these coins be worth a small fortune? Well, it all comes down to a rare error that made certain 1982 P quarters stand out from the rest. While most of the 1982 quarters are worth their face value of 25 cents, some of them, specifically the ones from the Philadelphia Mint with the P Mint mark, were accidentally struck with a unique error. This error, known as the double die reverse, makes these coins incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. If you're wondering what a double die reverse looks like, it's when the coin is struck with the same die multiple times, resulting in a doubled image. On these 1982 P quarters, you can see a noticeable doubling of the inscriptions, especially around the letters and numbers on the reverse. This kind of error isn't something you'll find every day, and that's why these coins are so valuable. So, how can you spot one of these rare quarters? Well, the first thing you'll want to do is check the reverse side of your 1982 P Mint Mark Washington Quarter. Look closely at the inscriptions like E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and Quarter Dollar. If you see any visible doubling, then you might be holding on to a gem. This error is more subtle than some other famous minting mistakes, so you'll need to be patient and thorough. The doubling should be visible with the naked eye, but if you're still unsure, a magnifying glass or loupe can help you get a clearer view. Another thing to keep in mind is the overall condition of the coin. A coin that's in pristine, uncirculated condition will fetch a much higher price than one that's been worn down through years of circulation. Now, here's the million-dollar question. How much is the 1982 P Mint Mark Washington Quarter worth? Well, some of these quarters have been known to sell for as much as $1 million, or even more. The exact value depends on the degree of the error, the condition of the coin, and how many bidders are vying for it. The rarer and more pristine the coin, the higher the potential value. In fact, several 1982 P Washington quarters with this error have sold for well over $500,000 in recent years. So, you've got a 1982 P Washington quarter that you think might be worth a fortune. What do you do next? Well, there are a few routes you can take to sell your valuable coin. First, have the coin professionally graded by a reputable service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Getting your coin graded will help establish its authenticity and condition, which directly impacts its value. Once your coin is graded, you can take it to an auction house, list it on reputable coin-selling websites, or even work with a trusted coin dealer. But remember, if you're looking to get top dollar, it's important to research the market and be patient. One of the key reasons this coin is worth so much is its rarity. Coins with minting errors are some of the most prized items in the numismatic world because they are so hard to come by. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these types of coins, and the fewer that exist, the more valuable they become. The rarity of a coin drives demand, and that means the price can skyrocket. And when it comes to the 1982 P Washington Quarter with the double die reverse error, the supply is limited, and the demand is high. So, it's a perfect storm for massive value. To wrap things up, the 1982 P Washington Quarter Dollar coin with the double die reverse error is a prime example of how a small mistake at the mint can result in an incredible windfall for collectors. If you have one of these coins, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Remember, always do your research, get your coin professionally graded, and if you're lucky enough to have one of these valuable quarters, you could be holding onto a coin worth a fortune. Keep an eye out for those rare minting errors, and who knows, your next coin might just be worth $1 million. 1988 D Washington Quarter. You might not believe it, but this coin could be worth up to $1 million. Stay tuned as we dive into the details, and maybe, just maybe, you could have a small fortune in your pocket right now. First things first, let's take a look at the 1988 D Washington quarter. This coin features George Washington's portrait on the obverse, his classic image, facing left, with the words Liberty above and In God We Trust beneath. On the reverse, we see the iconic eagle with the banner E Pluribus Unum, surrounded by 50 stars representing the states of America, and the denomination quarter dollar. Now, you're probably thinking, this looks like any other quarter from the late 1980s. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1988 D quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark right beneath George Washington's neck. But what makes the 1988 D Washington quarter so special? Well, it all comes down to a few unique and rare factors that could make this coin worth much more than face value. Let's break it down. Now, the 1988 D Washington quarter isn't just valuable because of its age, it's because of a rare minting error. You see, some of these quarters were struck with what's known as a doubled die error. This occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die, causing some of the design elements to appear doubled or offset. These are the coins you should be on the lookout for. The doubled features can often be seen in the lettering on the obverse, particularly in the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as in the date itself. These imperfections are incredibly rare, making the double die error 1988 D quarters highly collectible. If you're fortunate enough to own a double die 1988 D quarter, you could be sitting on a gold mine. These coins have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars, some even reaching up to $1 million in certain auctions. So, how can you spot a rare 1988 D Washington quarter that could be worth up to $1 million? It all comes down to a careful examination of the coin. Here are a few tips to help you identify the rare double die error on the 1988 D. Look closely at the date 1988. If you notice any doubling, especially in the number 8, that's a big indicator of the double die error. Pay close attention to the word Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters seem to have a faint, double impression, you might have a double die coin. Sometimes, minting errors leave subtle marks or impressions on the surface of the coin, so use a magnifying glass to closely examine the coin in different lighting conditions. Don't forget, condition is everything. Coins that are in near mint condition, or better yet, in perfect uncirculated state, will command the highest prices. Make sure to carefully preserve your coins, as the grade will impact the overall value. Now, let's talk about the money. How much is your 1988 D Washington quarter actually worth? Well, the value can vary widely depending on the rarity and condition of the coin. For a typical 1988 D quarter in average condition, you're looking at just a few dollars, maybe a bit more if it's in pristine shape. But for a double die error coin? That's where the magic happens. Depending on the severity of the error and the condition, you could see prices in the tens of thousands. But in rare cases, especially with coins that are certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, these rare quarters have been known to fetch prices of up to $1 million at auction. To get the best value, you should consider having your coin professionally graded by a reputable grading service. This will ensure you get the highest possible price when selling, as collectors value coins that are certified and graded highly. In fact, a few rare 1988 D Washington quarters with double die errors have already sold for eye-popping amounts. One particularly well-preserved coin with a significant double die error sold at auction for $500,000. Another, with even more noticeable doubling, reached a staggering $1 million. These types of sales prove just how valuable this particular error can be if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection. So, there you have it. The 1988 D Washington quarter is far more than just pocket change. If you find one with a double die error, you could be holding onto a rare and highly valuable coin. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows, you could discover a hidden treasure right in your own collection. 1990 P Washington quarter dollar coin. And guess what? It could be worth $1 million. Stay tuned as we break down the details, history, and what makes this coin so valuable. Let's get started. The 1990 P Washington quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. For most collectors, it's a common coin, one you might come across with ease in circulation. But what sets this coin apart from the rest? It's an anomaly, a coin with a story that's worth paying attention to. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse, front, side of the coin, you'll find George Washington's portrait, designed by John Flanagan. This design has been in circulation for decades, but it's the reverse side that catches most people's attention. The eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom, sits proudly on the back of the coin, with the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, a reminder of our national heritage. While the coin itself may look familiar, a few specific characteristics make some of these quarters far more valuable than others. Alright, now let's get to the good stuff, the reason this seemingly ordinary quarter can be worth a fortune. The 1990p Washington quarter is valuable for a few key reasons. But it all starts with a rare minting error that occurred during its production. You see, some of these coins feature a unique characteristic that's incredibly rare: double die obverse errors. This means that on certain coins, the image of Washington's portrait on the obverse appears to be doubled, creating a blurry effect, almost like a ghosted image. This error is incredibly hard to find, which automatically makes it highly desirable for collectors. But there's more. The coin's scarcity is another factor that plays into its extreme value. Although millions of quarters were produced in 1990, the ones with the double die error are extremely limited. If you happen to find one of these in your collection or pocket change, it could be worth a fortune. Cut to images of a standard 1990p quarter and a double die example side by side. So, how do you spot the 1990p double die error in the wild? First off, you're going to need to take a close look at the coin. The key place to look is on Washington's eye and the word Liberty. The doubling is often most visible in these areas. You might notice a slight shift in the alignment of the features, where part of the design is faintly duplicated. Now, here's a trick: use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect the details. Be sure to check the date as well. The doubling can sometimes be subtle, but once you know what you're looking for, it becomes much easier to spot. It's important to note that not all 1990p quarters have this error. Only those few with the double die obverse are the ones that fetch big bucks. If you're unsure, take it to a professional numismatist or coin dealer for verification. Now, let's talk about the million-dollar question: how much is the 1990p Washington quarter actually worth? Well, in good condition, a regular 1990p quarter is worth face value, 25 cents. However, when you're talking about a rare double die obverse example, that's where the value skyrockets. A mint condition double die 1990p quarter can be worth upwards of $1 million in the right market. That's right, a single quarter could be your ticket to a life-changing payout. But of course, the value depends on several factors, including the coin's condition, the rarity of the error, and the demand from collectors. For those wondering how much you could expect from a standard 1990p quarter with no errors, you're still looking at a more modest value, maybe a few dollars to a couple hundred at best, depending on its condition. Cut to shots of graded coins and professional appraisers. If you've got your hands on one of these valuable 1990p quarters, you might be wondering, how do I sell it for top dollar? Well, the first step is to have it professionally graded by a service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Grading determines the coin's condition and authenticity, which are crucial for getting the best price. Once it's graded, you can sell your coin at an auction, either online or through a physical auction house. Popular online platforms like eBay and Heritage Auctions are great places to start. Just make sure you're working with reputable dealers and always do your research on current market trends. And if you're new to coin collecting or selling, it's always a good idea to consult with a professional numismatist to guide you through the process and ensure you get the best deal. So, there you have it, a deep dive into the 1990p Washington quarter dollar and why it could be worth $1 million. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare double die error coins, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Keep your eyes peeled, check your change, and don't forget to examine your coins carefully. 1993p mint mark Washington quarter that has shocked collectors and auction houses with its skyrocketing value. From rare mint errors to record-breaking sales, This is one coin you do not want to overlook. Loudspeaker. Make sure you watch till the end to find out the exact features that can make your quarter insanely valuable, and how you can sell it the right way. Let's start with the basics. The 1993 Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries the P Mint mark just beside George Washington's ponytail on the obverse, or front, of the coin. In 1993, over 639 million quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. So naturally, you're probably thinking, how can something so common be worth a fortune? The secret lies in a combination of mint errors, pristine condition, and rare die varieties, details most people miss. Now let's get into the real reason we're here. Some 1993 P quarters have sold at premium prices, with one particularly rare example valued at up to $1 million in private collections. Double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, reverse die rotation errors. Coins graded MS67, MS68, and MS69 are almost flawless. These coins have sharp details, no scratches, and shine like they were just minted. Trophy. One ultra-rare, high-grade 1993 P quarter with a prominent die error and flawless surface was rumored to sell in private auction for nearly $1 million. Let's talk real money. Here are some actual sales for 1993 P quarters that shocked the collecting world, brain. And remember, those are just the public sales. In private collector markets, prices can climb dramatically higher if you have something truly special. Here's how you can check your 1993 P quarter for big value. Issued be just right of Washington's ponytail.no mint mark equals not from Philadelphia. Use a magnifying glass or phone zoom. Look for doubling on letters or numbers. Look at the coin's edges. Are they misshapen or clipped? No scratches, no discoloration. Sharp details on Washington's hair, lettering, and the eagle. Use resources like PCGS.com or NGCcoin.com to compare photos and descriptions. So you've found a promising 1993 P quarter. What's next? Don't clean the coin. It ruins the value. Take clear, close-up photos of both sides. Submit the coin to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Get opinions from online forums or local coin shops. Consider auctioning it through a reputable coin auction house. If your coin is the real deal, you could be sitting on tens of thousands, or even $1 million. Who knew pocket change could turn into a retirement plan? That 1993 P Washington quarter in your change jar could be a hidden treasure. Backhand index pointing right. So check your coins, share this video with fellow collectors, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more videos about valuable coins hiding in plain sight. 1993 D Washington quarter, the kind you may have in your pocket right now, could be worth up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you might have overlooked while doing laundry could be a life-changing treasure. In today's video, we're diving deep into why this specific quarter is so valuable, what rare features to look for, and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Let's start with the basics. The 1993 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver. That's what the D Mint mark stands for. Over 645 million of these quarters were struck, making them very common, at first glance. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all 1993 D quarters are created equal. Some have errors, some were struck on wrong planchets, and others were double struck, and these are the coins that collectors are paying serious money for. You might ask, how can a coin that was worth 25 cents suddenly be worth $1 million? Well, it all comes down to rarity plus condition plus errors. Only a tiny number of 1993 D quarters were struck with minting errors. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. Coins graded as MS67 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC are extremely rare. A perfect-looking coin with full luster and no scratches can fetch massive prices. Some coins were mistakenly struck on nickel or dime planchets, or show dramatic doubling of the lettering or date. These can be worth thousands, or hundreds of thousands. Let's talk real money. Here are some actual sales of rare 1993 D quarters. Moneybag 1 1993 D quarter with an off-center error, graded MS66, sold for over $4,000 at auction. Money bag, a double die reverse variety in near perfect condition? That's been estimated around $50,000 to $100,000 depending on demand. But the real jaw-dropper? A 1993 D-quarter struck on a nickel planchet, in pristine condition, was once privately valued close to $900,000, and some experts say it could fetch up to $1 million if sold in the right market. Okay, now it's time for you to check your quarters. Here's what to do. Look for the D mint mark. It should be on the front, obverse, right side under Washington's ponytail. Use a magnifying glass or phone camera to inspect the date, lettering, and edges. Doubling on the numbers or letters off-center, designs thicker or thinner than normal. Compare with pictures from trusted coin websites. If it looks promising, send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Here's a quick checklist to see if your 1993 D-quarter could be a winner. If yes to any of these, don't spend it. Get it graded, store it safely, and consider consulting a coin expert. You might be holding a $1 million piece of American history. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden coin treasures, and comment below if you have a 1993 D-quarter. We'd love to hear your story. 1997 D Washington quarter dollar. You might be sitting on a fortune. Yes, you heard me right. Up to $1 million. Money bag, money bag, money bag. Make sure to stay with me until the end, because I'm going to reveal exactly what to look for in this coin, how rare it truly is, and how to sell it if you strike gold. Let's dive right in. The 1997 D Washington quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, which is represented by the small D mint mark just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. That year, over 599 million quarters were struck in Denver alone, making it a common year at first glance. But here's where it gets interesting. Even in such massive numbers, a handful of these coins came out with shocking mint errors, rare die varieties, and pristine conditions that now make them extraordinarily valuable. Now let's get to the juicy part. Why would someone pay $1 million for a 1997 D quarter? Some of these coins were struck on the wrong planchet. For example, instead of a copper nickel clad, a few were mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a dime, or even a foreign coin. That type of error is extremely rare and desirable among collectors. There are reports of double die obverse, DDO, errors in the 1997 D quarter. Look closely at the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." If the letters look blurry or appear to have a shadow, you might have a valuable variety in your hands. This one is big. If your quarter is graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC at MS68 or higher, its value skyrockets. In auctions, high-grade quarters, especially with errors, have fetched prices upwards of $50,000, $100,000, and in some ultra-rare combinations, even close to $1 million. Let me show you exactly how to check your 1997 D quarter. Flip the coin under a bright light or magnifying glass. Look at Liberty and "In God We Trust." Do you see any doubling? Look at the edges. Is the coin thinner than a normal quarter? Could it be struck on a dime planchet? Check the surface. Does the coin look uncirculated? No scratches or wear? That's a good sign. If you think you have something special, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can actually ruin its value. Okay, so what if you think you have a rare 1997 D quarter? Here's what to do. Send it to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll professionally examine and grade the coin. If it's certified and rare, you can list it on auction platforms like Heritage Auctions, Great Collections, or even eBay, but only after grading. Connect with coin dealers or collectors. Some might pay a premium immediately for rare error coins. So the next time you're digging through your coin jar or getting change from the store, keep your eyes peeled for the 1997 D Washington quarter. What looks like a regular 25-cent piece could change your life.